Hello everybody and welcome to another video. Now, a few weeks ago, I checked out a band called If Hope Dies, and I said in that video that, I wanted to start checking out more sort of independent, more sort of unknown bands, because, one of the main reasons I started doing this channel is because I wanted to discover new and interesting music, and I have discovered a lot of new and interesting music thanks to all of you that are making suggestions. But also, since I checked out a lot of Bloodywood's music, I've been getting inundated with metal bands coming out of India. Now, I'm not saying that this is a bad thing. I mean, the metal scene in India, it's a very hard thing for them to promote because they don't necessarily really promote or support the metal scene over there in India very, very much. So all these metal bands coming out of India are asking me to check out their music, and I think that's great, because if I can help to get their music out there, to get their music more recognised, I'm happy to do that. It's not just about me discovering new music, it's about me helping other people to discover bands that maybe they've not heard before, maybe expand their horizons to other cultures, other bands, other styles of music that they have not listened to before. So with that being said, a few days ago, a band called Ausomapto, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, contacted me, asking me if I'd like to have a look at their new video that they are releasing today. And I asked them, if they could provide me with a little bit of information about the band, obviously the video itself and some lyrics. And they did very kindly provide me with some lyrics that they have translated into English for me as well, which I think was incredibly nice of them. So a little information about the band. From what I've gathered from all the things that they've told me, they are a new metal band from out of Kolkata, normally known as Calcutta to us English people because we like to bastardize everything that we say. Obviously that's in India. The name of the band is a Bengali word derived from ancient Sanskrit text, which is synonymous with the idea of immortality. Now, the idea of using that was because their idea was the fact that, music can never truly die. Music is always going to be there. Music has been part of human culture for centuries, for millennia even, from the earliest records of humankind, there has always been some form of music. Music will never die. And it's one of those sort of perpetual things. It's traveled through generations. It's evolved. It's changed. Sometimes we step back and go to older generations and sort of revive that. Music never dies. It is always going to be there. And as they put it there, it is an energy that can never be destroyed. Now, they've asked me to have a look at a video called, and I hope I'm not pronouncing this incorrectly, a song called Tanhayee. I hope I'm not pronouncing this incorrectly, which, as I understand it from the translation of the lyrics they gave me, I believe that means isolation. So, a new metal band from out of India. I'm not sure what this is going to sound like. I've checked out quite a few bands from India in the last few weeks. So, I think I've checked out at least 4 or 5 within the last couple of months. So I've covered quite a lot of them recently, and it's good to see more of them sort of coming out and, spreading out into the world. It's really great to see. So anyway, we'll jump into this track and see what we've got. So this is Tanhayee by Ausomapto. Let's have a look, if I can get the bloody headphones on properly. Have a look. Oh, okay. That was a very very sudden stop to the song there. Um, well, that was quite interesting. I do have a few criticisms, but that being said, from the information I was given by the guy that I spoke to, they're not really the fault of the band in a way. Now, musically, it sounded really rather good. The actual performance of the music sounded great. The vocal performance, I think, suffered a little bit. I don't think there was quite enough strength behind the vocal performance, but there is a possibility that that could come from the mixing. Now, the reason I bring that up is because the guy that I spoke to, he told me, like, he mixed the video, he mixed the audio, he did all the mixing for the track, he made the video, he did all the editing and stuff, and he had to learn how to do all this sort of stuff in a very short space of time. He didn't have much time to learn how to use like Adobe After Effects and the mixing software that he used. So while the vocal performance, I do believe, it did suffer a fair bit, that could just be as a result of the inexperience of using the software or whatever he used to mix the track. There are times the vocals came through fair enough, but there are other times they just sort of got drowned out by the music. And as I said with what I was just saying, the video itself looks like a sort of low budget sort of 90s sort of rock pop video, and again, that comes from the fact that he's only just learning how to use this sort of thing. He's doing it all by himself. He hasn't paid off some big fancy company to make the video for him. They've done it themselves. They've done this whole thing themselves. So you got to give them a little bit of a sort of break there. And for the most part, the video really wasn't that bad. A little bit sort of, like I said, 90s style, maybe Lawnmower Man style computer graphics, but you can't really beat them over the head with it. Now, one thing that I'm really questioning, though, is when I was looking up things about this band, they had the band members. There's 5 members of the band. There was the lead vocalist, whose name I can't remember, and then there's these 4 masked members who go by number 0, number 1, number 3, and number 5, I believe it is. I think it's 0, 1, 3, and 5. I could be wrong. And as you may have noticed, more than a couple of those masks are very, very similar to those of Slipknot. In fact, there's only one that isn't, and that's one that kind of looks like a Greek centurion's mask. The 3 others look very, very similar to Slipknot masks, and the fact that they go by numbers is a little bit sort of... It's a bit sort of on the nose, really, isn't it? But anyway, now I was told that the story behind the song is basically, there's been an extinction level event and mankind has been wiped out, and the only worlds that exist live in the 5 minds of the brains that they showed in the video. There was those 5 brains of the band members, and each one depicted a different world, and that's the only sort of world that remains anymore after this extinction event. Now, the lyrics go: "In the path of the heart, how I stumbled, all my dreams broke. There was a disappointment around. Every happiness went to sleep. My life seems lost." And then, I'm assuming this is the chorus there. It says, "Isolation, isolation, there is desolation spread over miles. Isolation, isolation, like the depths of darkness." So, it says it, "In the path of the heart, how I stumbled, all my dreams broke." So it's basically, in the path of my heart, you know, going to do what I want to do, you know, somewhere along the line, I sort of tripped over. All my dreams broke. I lost grip of everything that I ever wanted to do. You know, there was disappointment all around. Every happiness went to sleep. So everything that I enjoyed, everything that made me feel joy sort of just disappeared, you know. I was doing what I love, and then somewhere along the way I stumbled and I lost everything. You know, my life seems lost. And then it's, you know, like I said, the chorus there, isolation, isolation, there is desolation spread over miles. Isolation, isolation, like depths of darkness. So now he feels very much alone. You know, everything around him is ruined and destroyed, and he's just sort of sitting there in the darkness. You know, all this sort of darkness is overwhelming him. And it carries on. My dreams I saw a scarf in my hands, and now the glasses of dreams have broken, and they are poking in my eyes. Why did I keep such a hope that failed in such a way? I had set my destination so far that it turned into evening in the path itself. Now where should I go? Whom should I make understand? Who should I make understand what I had desired for, and why did I get in my destiny? That could be a slight mistranslation there. And then it goes into that chorus again. Isolation, isolation, there is desolation spread over miles. Isolation, isolation, like depths of darkness. So looking back here, in my dreams I saw a scarf in my hands. I'm not sure what that is. And now the glasses of dreams have broken and are poking in my eyes. So, you know, all his dreams have shattered, and, you know, the shattered remnants of his dreams are like blinding him, you know, by stabbing him in the eyes. And now he's sort of, you know, why did I keep so much hope? You know, why did I put so much faith in the fact that I could do this, you know, and just to watch it fall apart, you know? Well, why did I let this go? He said, I had my destination set so far that it turned into evening on the path itself. So it's like I'd set my sights so far ahead. I'd aimed for something that was so far out of reach that on my way to it, you know, maybe I got too old, or, you know, maybe I aimed too far, that ultimately I didn't have enough time, energy, or whatever to actually reach that final destination. You know, I tried too hard, maybe. It says, where should I go now? Whom should I make understand what I had decided for, and why did I get in my destiny? That bit I don't quite get. But, yeah, like I said, it's not a bad song. Musically, I think it was well performed. Like I said, the vocals do suffer a bit. You know, they come across a little bit weak. Again, that could come from the mixing. And again, you can't really hold that against them when, you know, they've literally only just learnt to use the software to do this in a very short space of time to create this. So, you know, perhaps, you know, future pieces of music that they put out, future videos, they might improve as he gets more adept at using the programs that he used. So I'll be interested to see how they progress in the future, you know. But like I said, you know, it's not a bad piece of music. It's not great, unfortunately. I can't say that it's a great piece of music, but also I can't say that it's bad. You know, it was very well executed. To a certain degree, you know, like I said, musically very well executed, but there are a few bits that really sort of need to be picked up on and fixed. But, you know, that's the whole thing about this as well. You know, some people might really love this, so this might really appeal to some people. I don't know. You know, some people might like the way that it's been mixed and stuff, but, you know, this is just my personal opinion. But there we go. I don't really know what else I can say. So that was Ausomapto with the track Tanhayee. As usual, there's a link to the video down below if you want to find out more about them. But I'll leave that as it is. Now, if anybody would like to suggest a track for me to react to, then please do so. By all means, you can drop a comment in the comment section below, or message me on my Facebook or my Instagram, or you could even message me through my Patreon, where you could also help to support this channel, which would of course be a massive help to me, since every piece of content I create for this channel gets immediately demonetized the moment I upload it to the internet, which is a little bit frustrating, but that's just the way things go. There is an option in Patreon where you can get your suggestion jumped to the front of the queue if you should so desire it. There is a limit on how frequently you can do that, however. That's limited to just once a month, and that's just to be fair to people who want to make suggestions through more regular means such as YouTube, Facebook and Instagram comments. And if you do make a suggestion through those more regular means, do know it could take me a while to get around to your suggestion, since I do get suggested so many new tracks every single day that my list grows faster than I can record the videos. But I do write down every suggestion I get, so it should hopefully get done eventually, but it might take me a while to get to it, unfortunately. Also, MetalHead Reacts is a proud supporter of the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, a British-based charity whose goal is to put an end to hate crimes. And one of the main facets of that is hate crimes against people of the alternative community. And it's something I believe in very strongly, and it's something that very frequently sort of gets brushed over. You know, people just sort of ignore it and don't pay it any attention. And that's something that really needs to change, because it's a very real problem that's been going on for decades. And, you know, we're not just talking about people shouting insults or, you know, shoulder ramming someone from the alternative community as they're walking down the street. We're talking about brutal, violent crimes where people are getting hospitalized, sometimes with broken limbs and sometimes even more life-threatening injuries. And, you know, every day we hear about all these other hate crimes like sexism, racism, homophobia, transphobia, religious hatred, ableism, etc. We hear about these on a daily basis, from the most heinous and violent of these crimes down to the most petty and pathetic and childish of these crimes. We hear these in every facet of the news on a daily basis. But as soon as it comes to someone from the alternative community getting violently and brutally assaulted, nothing ever gets said. You know, the last time there was a widespread conversation about this sort of thing was 14 years ago, when Sophie Lancaster and her boyfriend Rob Maltby were violently and brutally assaulted by a group of 5 or 6 people who beat them so severely, they stamped on their heads so violently that they both ended up in comas. Now, Rob Maltby, he thankfully survived the assault. He was in a coma for around about a week and a half, maybe a little bit longer. But Sophie Lancaster was in a coma for 13 days before she succumbed to her injuries and she died. This young woman was 20 years old and was beaten to death just because of her taste in music and clothing. Now, when this happened, this was all over the news, as rightfully it should have been, and over time the story faded into the background, as you'd expect it to. But in the 14 years since that happened, we've not heard a single story like it. You know, nothing has been said since. Yet there have been several hundred, if not several thousand, similar incidents in that time. The only major difference is that no one has died as a result. And that's the key feature there. That people won't speak about this unless someone dies. And that's unacceptable. We shouldn't have to wait for someone to lose their life before this gets spoken about. We shouldn't have to wait for someone to die before something gets done. And that's what the Sophie Lancaster Foundation is all about. They want to bring more attention to the fact that this is happening. They want more people to talk about this. They want there to be more recognition of the fact that this is a very real problem and deserves as much attention as all of these other hate crimes that get spoken about on a daily basis. Because the more we ignore it, the more it's going to happen, because the people committing these crimes feel that they can get away with it because no one's going to pay any attention to it. And if we carry on ignoring it, it's only a matter of time before what happened to Sophie Lancaster happens again, and we cannot allow that to happen. You know, they don't want to see another family go through what they went through when they had to watch their daughter slowly die over the course of 2 weeks because of the small-minded actions of a group of people who couldn't handle the fact that somebody liked something different to them, that not everybody likes the same thing. These violent crimes against people of the alternative community deserve as much attention and as much, you know, they deserve to be spoken about just as much as any other hate crime. But at the moment, they're not getting spoken about, nothing's getting done, they're just getting ignored. And that needs to change. So if you'd like to find out more about the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, there's a link to their website in the description below. You can go over there, find out what they're working on at the moment, find out what their overall goal is, because they can explain it a heck of a lot better than I can. And if you can help them out in any small way, obviously you don't feel obligated to do so, but if you can help them out in any small way, whether it be a small donation through their website or something as simple as like one of these Sophie wristbands, maybe even that one, you know, they've got a whole bunch of other really cool stuff going on over there. But, you know, the sooner we get more people talking about this, the sooner we bring more attention to this, the sooner we can help to stamp out prejudice, hatred, and intolerance everywhere. But I'm going to leave that as it is for the time being. Thank you all very, very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.